Hello everybody. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to make some cream of crab soup. It's my award-winning recipe, so I hope you'll stick around and watch it. In the meantime, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Dorina, and I'm here to just share all my goodies with you. So anyway, I love this recipe. I created it actually for a contest, and I actually came in second place in the Baltimore area, so that's pretty good, I think. So next year I'll get first. Anyway, I have some secret ingredients and I have some secret methods to all my recipes. So, you know, if I'm entering a contest and it's a not Italian recipe, I have to Italianize it. So this is my Italianized cream of crab soup. So first thing we're gonna do, yes, it's got zucchini in it. No other cream of crab soup has zucchini in it. I have had some with corn and they're really good, but there's something about that little bite when you like the ones I've had with corn in them. There's something about that little bite of like that little crunch that's so awesome. But I'm going to teach you guys a really cool secret right now. So, you know, zucchini, if you put it in a soup, it gets mushy. And so it doesn't have that crunch like corn would have. So what I do is, okay, so I'm cutting it up. As you can see now, I'm cutting it up into strips, and then I'm going to cut these up into little cubes. What we're going to do is we are going to salt these cubes. We're going to pull the liquid out of the zucchini, and then when they go in the soup, they are just like, they got a nice little pop to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in this little colander, which is really kind of cool because it's got a little dish underneath. All right, so let's do this really quick. All right, I was talking and cutting, but you know, now I'm going to just cut really quickly here. Okay. Yeah, you know, I could have done this ahead of time, but you know, I like showing you everything I'm doing. Hold on, I need my wonderful picker-upper scrapers. Okay. And you know, you can't have too much, but in the end, if you do, you know, you can always save it and toss it in a salad or whatever. This is a great way to have an extra condiment that's not mushy. Because everybody, you know, unless you fry zucchini, it gets soft. Okay. And last pieces. I'm sure you saw how I did this. I cut it in half because it's easier to manage, a little shorter, and then sliced it long ways, and then sliced it long ways again. And let's do the one more. Got some stuck on the end of the knife. There we go. One piece. There we go. All right. So these are all pretty uniformly sized. You definitely want that because you want them all to, you don't want to have a great big giant chunk and then a little chunk. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the salt, and you're going to salt it generously. And I always give it a quick rinse before I throw it in. So don't worry, it's not going to be salty. It's not going to, you know, raise your blood pressure. So I'm going to toss it around. Make sure you don't have any cuts on your fingers or it burns. All right. And honestly, don't be shy with the salt on this. So that's going to sit here. And what I'm going to do is, just to make it go a little, you know, faster, I have my little weight. I'm just going to stick it on top there. Okay. Whoops. One. Oh, well. Louie can have it later. All right. So now I'm going to turn my pot on. I've got a nice heavy bottom pot. All right. Of course, it's my Pampered Chef stuff. You all know that. And we are going to start by sauteing some peppers and onions and celery and my secret ingredient and some garlic. So I'll show you that here in 1 second. Oop, there's the secret ingredient. All right, so we're going to put in about, I think I'm going to use about a half an onion. You know, it's funny, when I made this for the contest, I was making like 3 onions. I made this great big giant monster pot. It was like an 18-gallon crazy thing. All right. So And as you guys all know, I've told you before, but since we're giving out so many tips today, when you are dicing an onion, you cut it in half from the top to the root, okay? And then you cut off the top and leave the root. Because then, you know, some people do this sideways thing. I don't feel you need to, because instead I cut it around instead of just straight down. So I kind of cut it this way, and then you don't have to worry about it because it's already sliced on the inside. So you don't need to. And then when you get to the end, just turn it down, cut those last little pieces off, because you know me, waste not, want not. And also pay attention to how I'm holding my knife. You know, I don't know if anybody's ever taught you this, but so many people hold a knife with their finger on top. You never ever do that because it makes it wobbly, and that's a greater chance you could cut yourself. Always thumb and forefinger. You hold the top of the blade right here, and then under there. Anyway, that's what to do. Okay, so we're gonna throw in, actually let's start with some olive oil. I just turned the pot on. I'm gonna put it on low to start with. I'm gonna put a nice drizzle, probably good 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All right, and we're gonna start with our onions. Oh yeah, nice sizzle. Now, this is an Italian pepper. It's a sweet pepper, just like a dark green one, but I'm using this one because if we're Italianizing, we might as well Italianize. Okay. Get these few seeds out. And now I'm just going to cut these in strips also, in little pieces. And again, strips, and then we're just going to dice. Alrighty, here we go. Now I'm going to start with half of this. I want to see how I think it's going to be. Let's stir this around. All right, we'll throw a few more in. The rest of these I'm going to put and save for my breakfast tomorrow morning, because I think that was a little bigger than the onion. All right, so those are starting to cook slowly. Now we're going to do the same thing with the celery. This is beautiful organic celery. I'm just cutting a little teeny bottom. Oh, wrong spot. There we go. And so when you're cutting your celery, all you do is just cut down. And of course the bottom's always fat, so you got to give it an extra. And then we're just going to I like to cut this kind of small. Actually, that was a yucky piece. Okay. So never look at a camera when you're cutting, because you know you could cut your finger. Or just hold it way far away. Okay. And I am going to use some of these leaves because I think they're pretty. They add some color and they do have some great flavor. So I'm just kind of cutting them that way, and I'm just going to chop them a little bit too. Because there's great flavor. An extra little piece of celery there. Great flavor in the leaves. And so many people just cut the leaves off the top and throw them in the garbage. And you're throwing away flavor and just throwing away food. Okay, so that goes in there. Alrighty, now we're gonna take a piece of garlic, and I'm putting the garlic in last. Let's see here. I don't want to put a whole bunch, but I'm gonna put it in last because I am gonna do this really with the garlic press. So I don't want it to be, you know, it's gonna burn. So let's do a little stir here. Oh, that's getting nice and translucent almost. All right, so there's that. Put that there. All right, so the other thing is the anchovy. Okay, you know, it's funny. I almost opened this ahead of time and then I didn't. And I got olive oil all over me. Okay, good old anchovy oil. All right, so you're gonna throw a thing of anchovies in. This is my base. Some people put a fish base or some other broth. No, I like this. You throw the oil in and everything. Okay, and now I gotta, yuck. I love anchovies, but I love them in stuff, but not necessarily on me. All right. All right, let me Now we're gonna put these down, push these down into the oil and let them kind of really cook down, and they're gonna break up, and all it ends up looking like is pepper flakes in everything here. You don't see anchovies, you don't get a chunk of anchovy, but I'm telling you, it makes a great base for a soup. Okay, look at, they're already almost broken down. See, they're like in little pieces. Oh, that's, see, they're because they're just mixing up with the stuff. All right, that's gonna get a little bit more. Now I'm gonna get my garlic press, which is right behind me, and I'm gonna throw in, I'm gonna do 1 clove, let me see, maybe 2. Okay. I think I'm going to do 1 because I am putting, my other secret ingredient is my homemade pesto. All right, this is cooking down nice. And I just want, I'm going to show you, so basically it's onions and peppers and celery, and it just looks like it's coated in a little brownness because the anchovies right now, one last little piece there, are all broken down. Completely broken down. You can't see any. You would never know by looking at this if there's anchovies in here. So trust me when I tell you it's good. So I have my homemade pesto that actually I had put in the freezer because I'd finished the one in the refrigerator, and so I had to let it thaw out. So the secret to keeping your pesto is, see how the top is all yellow, because that was a coating of olive oil. So there's garlic in my pesto. So I'm just putting. I know this is not what usually. I don't want to make all this noise. Let's see here. There we go. So it's not normally what goes in a cream of crab soup, and I'm telling you, think of these flavors I'm throwing in the bottom of this pot right now. So good. Oh, yum. All right. So now we are going to make a little bit of a roux in just a minute. There's one more thing we have to add to this, but what's gonna happen, we're gonna add a little wine. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the wine in now and I'm gonna let it evaporate, but the oil is still gonna be there. And then we're gonna add some flour. So right now I'm throwing in, that's probably like a little more than 1/4 cup, maybe 1/3 of a cup. Well, okay, maybe it was half. No, I'm just kidding. It was half, okay, half a cup of wine. All right, and all right, we're gonna let that cook down for a minute because I want the alcohol flavor to kind of cook off. Oh God, that smells good. All right. Now that that's cooking, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add just a little bit of butter because, butter makes everything yummy. But I'm not going to overdo it. I'm actually going to make my roux. I just put like, probably like 1.5 tablespoons because a thicker slice would be 1 tablespoon. That was like 1.5. So just for a little flavor and a little added fat, we are putting milk in this, but we're not putting heavy cream. Some people do use the heavy cream, but since I'm going to make a roux, and a roux is usually, it's a fat, so it could be butter, it could be oil with flour, and then you add whatever your liquid is. In this case, it would be milk. All right, so that's cooking down. The butter's all melted. So now I'm going to add a little flour to it, and I'm going to stir it around. I know some people say, oh, you got your veggies in there already. It's okay. All right, let me turn this, do that one more stir, make sure everything's melted. Let me turn that on to low, and I'm going to put in, let's see, that's an 8. Actually, this is, I'm doing heaping, so it's probably not 1/4, it's probably about 1/3 cup of flour. And this is going to basically soak up all the liquid that's in here. And that's what I want it to do. All right, so here the sizzle stopped because now it's this solid stuff. So I'm gonna let this cook like this for a minute, stirring it around because I want the flour to cook. Does that make sense? I know it sounds funny, but I don't want it to have a gritty flour taste once it's done. So you kind of just move this around and let it cook. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add milk to it. So I'm using whole milk, but because you're using the flour, if you wanna cut the fat, you can do this without the butter, or just maybe a little teeny bit of butter for flavor. And you can use, like, I would not use a skim milk. Honestly, you could use a 2% milk, that'd be fine. But what I would rather use whole milk and add some water than use skim milk. I know it sounds crazy, but no, that's me. But I like things in their purest form, and milk should be whole milk. Okay. And you know, I don't know if most people know this, but you know that when they take the fat out of the milk, it actually has more sugars in it, somehow or another. I don't know the scientific stuff about it, but it's actually not as good for you. It's actually sweeter in your body. All right, so I've got this pretty good. I spread it all around, stirred it up. Okay, so now I'm gonna start adding the milk. Later, okay, and people are, I'm sure you're asking how much of this to how much milk. Okay, I don't know, I filled my container. Here's a scoop. Okay, wait, I'm putting a little bit at a time because I want the milk to warm up. You can, some people will tell you to heat the milk up and put it in hot, and you can do that too. But I just do this a little bit at a time. I don't feel like making extra steps sometimes, and then I gotta dirty another pot. So I just go a little bit at a time, and at the very beginning, it's gonna be really thick. And it should, but you want it to soak up, and all that flour is gonna soak up the liquid. So now you can see it's more, like it's more falling off the spoon, whereas before it really was on the spoon. Okay, let's do this left-handed, and then I can stir right-handed, because I can pour better left-handed than stir. All right, here we go. So it's cooled off. Obviously the cold milk has cooled everything off, but it's, I'll turn it up a smidgen. Okay. Now in the end, like I said, I'm gonna add some water because I will use that as the, just in case it's too thick. Now, if you ever make something like this and it's too thin and you've cooked it and it's still too thin, all you do is get an extra little pan on the side, put some butter in it, let it melt, or some olive oil, and put some flour in it and let it cook down. And then you can add it to this and it would be like a thickener. It's a thickener. All right. Oh my God, this smells so good. Now, and I haven't even seasoned it yet. This is just the smells and the flavors of the food things I put it. I mean, like, well, they're all food, I guess, considered, but no spices or anything yet. This is, you know, the onions and the celery and the peppers and the garlic and the anchovies. All right, now I'm gonna put that all in. And the wine, and I'm gonna let this stir and sit and cook. So right now it's only about a third full, the pot, but it hasn't started to thicken yet. After it starts to thicken, then I'll decide how much extra liquid, whether I actually want to put in more milk or if I want to put in, I will definitely be putting in some water. Okay. So you want to make sure that nothing's stuck to the bottom as it starts to cook. So just give it, you know, right now I know nothing's burnt, so give it a good scrape to make sure there's no flour or anything stuck to the bottom. You know me, embrace the stir, which is cauldron. Okay, so now we're gonna start getting the seasonings together. So let me move this here and the pesto out. So what I'm gonna use, I already put garlic in, so I've got my salt, my black pepper, my red pepper flakes, my Italian oregano, and let's see what else I've got. Okay, so I'm from Maryland, originally DC, Washington, DC, in Maryland. Grew up in, and of course Old Bay is a big deal, but you know, it's not organic, and you know me, I like organic. So Fresh Jacks out of Florida, and I think I've got a link I'll put on my my page afterwards. They make something called Fresh Bay, and it's basically Old Bay organic. So we're gonna definitely be using some of that. And then of course in a few we're gonna add the zucchini to it. So I always do the salt last, but I am gonna put a smidge of my Italian oregano Just a little pinch. That was a small pinch, really. It just sometimes really truly less is more. Now pepper, that's another story. Nice pinch of pepper. I am going to put in a few red pepper flakes, but I'm not going to put in too many, only because the Fresh Jack's, the Fresh Bay has some hot pepper in it. And I'm going to only put in a pinch of salt right now because I don't like to over salt in the beginning, because I want it to, you know, finish cooking down and decide what it's going to do. So this is cooking. I'm going to turn it up just a little. It's already, you know, it's not thick, but it's thicker than water. What was that song? Love is thicker. It was the Love is Thicker Than Water, Andy Gibb, back in the 70s. Anyway, okay, sorry. Give this a, make sure you keep scraping the bottom as you go, especially right now. I turned the heat up a minute, so I'm really making sure that nothing sticks to the bottom. I'm going to turn it back down. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of water. It's still thick, you know. All right, and then we're gonna take a peek here. Oh my goodness, we're gonna check on. Okay, we're gonna check on these zucchini. Now, what I want to show you. Check this out. Can you see how shiny they are? They're soaking wet. So, and there's a whole, like, probably quarter cup of liquid in the bottom of this bowl. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take this over to the sink for 1 second and just give it a quick rinse, because I don't want all this salt. I don't need to dry this off because it's going into a wet soup, but they have so much more crunch to them. And it still has a little teeny bit of the salty flavor, but that's okay because I didn't put much salt in the soup, and it will just help salt the soup. So I will not put any more salt in until I taste it. And then, of course, so these are the last two ingredients. Well, last three. Let me get so this is a whole pound of crab meat. And you know what? You can put in as much as you have, and you can use lump, or if you know what, you want to save some money, but you still want to have something, get the legs, the leg meat, I'm sorry, not the legs, the claw meat. But it's just as flavorful, if not more flavorful. It's just darker in color, but it's not, you know, the pretty white lump crab meat. But you know what? It is what it is. So I'm going to put in about a teaspoon, and I am going to measure this because I don't want to overdo it. And some people like it more than others. You know, the heat, and it's heat, and well, I'm going to put a little more. What the heck? The heat and the flavor. I like just enough so that it enhances the already flavors in here and enhances the flavor of the crab. I don't like overdoing the Old Bay flavor, Fresh Bay. Oh my God, that smells so good. I love what I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna throw the zucchini in here. Okay. And what else? Just the crab meat. Ooh. Oh, this is so nice and creamy. Look at that. Okay. Now I'm gonna see here if I'm gonna put all of this in or not. If I feel like it's too much, because I did not make a giant pot. It's just two of us. Figure some today, some tomorrow. And it is, you know, it is Friday, and next week starts Lent, so we'll be doing seafood dishes every Friday. All right, let's start with half and see what it looks like. Then again, you know, if you're making crab soup, might as well make crab soup. Ha, forget that stuff. All right, there we go. We're making crab soup. And I'll tell you, you make a super yummy, delicious crab soup with the less expensive claw meat, and it has such great flavor, and you don't miss it. You don't miss the lump and the 3 times the price. Oh my goodness. I'm just breaking up all the pieces of crab right now. not too little, you know, like some chunks. So my favorite thing, especially living here on the Eastern Shore, is fresh crab meat, no doubt about it. The thing is that, you know, just like the other things I keep in my pantry, if you find a good brand of the canned, you know, claw meat, and it's, you know, make sure you know where it's coming from, then it's okay to have one. They last about 6 months in your refrigerator. So, you know, it's one of those things I kind of every now and then I get one. I just keep it in the fridge just in case. And in a pinch, I can make some crab cakes. I can make some crab soup or something. And it's one of those things that's considered a little more decadent. So it's kind of nice. And it's easy. Don't have to be afraid of things. All right. So I think now I have a clean spoon down here. I'm gonna give this a little taste and see if it's seasoned enough. Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. And I can double dip because this is my house. I would never do that if I was having company. Let me tell you. The zucchini pieces are crunchy, but they're cooking and they will get a little bit softer, but they stay crunchy. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Most people are like, yeah, you got zucchini in there, it's mushy. Nope, not mine. In fact, I had people ask me when I made it for the contest, they're like, is that corn? I'm like, no, it's green, can you see? It's a zucchini. Zucchini, really? But it's so crunchy. I said, yeah, my secret trick. Okay, anyway, let's get a bowl. And since this is white soup, I'm gonna put it in a blue bowl because it looks prettier. Let's get some of this. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna let this cook a little longer, but I wanna show you how pretty this is. Oh my goodness. Of course, when I'm trying to do it pretty, I drip it down the side, but that's okay. Oh my goodness. Look at, can you see this? No, I don't know. Can you see it before I almost spill it all over the place? It is just, oh, so beautiful. Honest to goodness, we didn't take very long to make this, okay? And this is ready to eat right now. Yeah, it really is. But of course, you can leave it on low, let it cook a little longer. If you're gonna cook it longer and it's gonna cook down, then I would add a little extra liquid to it, either water or a little milk. But I'm telling you, this is just right as it is. So anyway, I wanna thank you all for being here today and making my Friday evening dinner with me, because this is what we are having this evening, Pasquale and I. Right, hon? This is what I get. Yep, I know you could hear him nodding from back there. Anyway, I hope to see you again soon, and I hope you'll try this recipe because it's really simple, really good, and you know, it's Italianized. Anyway, please do me a favor, if you will like, subscribe, and share my channel, my page, all my stuff. All right, you all, I love you. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.